In the year 1271, Queen Elira Varelia united 5 warring clans under one crown. With raven hair and cold silver eyes, she ruled with unmatched cunning. To ensure loyalty, she married her son to the daughter of each clan in secret. 5 weddings, 5 heirs, 5 secrets. Only Elira knew who the true heir was. Her method birthed unity, but also seeded chaos. When she died mysteriously in her sleep, each wife claimed her child was the heir. Thus began the blood feud. The throne sat empty as brothers turned on each other. Elira's curse was whispered through the halls. Only silence shall rule where truth has died. The palace became known as the Throne of Tongues, for how many lost theirs claiming to be king. By 1292, the palace ran red with blood. The 5 sons of Elira, each raised to believe he was the heir, plunged the realm into civil war. Prince Calin, the eldest and most beloved by the nobles, was poisoned during a coronation attempt. His lips turned blue as he kissed the crown. Prince Dareth, sharp-tongued and cruel, accused his youngest half-brother Silas of treachery. Silas denied it, but spoke too loudly. Dareth had his tongue cut out that same night. Silas would never speak again, yet his silence made him feared. He became the favorite of the silent court, a council of eunuchs, widows, and those maimed by politics. The war was fought not only on battlefields but in whispers, shadows, and silences. Courtiers who spoke too much vanished. Letters were burned unopened. Musicians fled the palace. A dark age of quiet tyranny began. By the end of the war, only Silas and Dareth remained. One ruled with silence, the other with suspicion. A compromise was forced by the court, a shared reign. 2 kings. 1 crown. No voice. They signed oaths in blood never to speak again under pain of death. Thus began the era of mute kings. In 1301, with the twin kings bound by silence, the realm grew restless. Into this void stepped Lady Varelia, their shared niece and daughter of the slain Prince Calin. She was only 17, but known for a voice like warm honey and falling ash. Her beauty masked her weapon, words. Though barred from ruling by law, she whispered into both kings' ears, promises, threats, dreams. She played them like instruments, tuning their silent tempers until they turned on one another. Courtiers called her the tongue of the throne. Servants swore her voice could change a man's loyalty or madness. She built a hidden network of orphans and maids who carried her secrets, passing messages through embroidery, flowers, and perfumes. Her power grew. By the spring of 1303, King Dareth was found hanged in his own chambers, a rose petal in his mouth. The next day, Queen Varelia was crowned, the first female monarch since Elira, and the last one to speak in public. In her first decree, she outlawed all poetry, music, and theater. No voice but hers would echo in the palace again. And so, the throne passed to a whisper. By 1305, Queen Varelia's word was law, literally. She had outlawed speaking in court unless summoned. Every minister, noble, and servant had their tongue branded with her royal sigil, a serpent coiled around a rose. Those who resisted were silenced more brutally. The court became a theater of gestures. Ministers communicated with coded hand movements and blink patterns. Court scribes, once lowly clerks, now held power equal to dukes, scribbling confessions, deals, and death warrants. No one knew who to trust. A single wrong glance could be your executioner's summons. Varelia ruled from behind a silken curtain, where she whispered orders to her echo-bearers, for orphan boys whose tongues had been cut out at birth and trained to lip-read and deliver her secrets. No one ever saw them blink. But silence could not hide corruption. Rumors grew of secret rebellions outside the palace, of villages where minstrels sang forbidden songs about the 5 sons of Elira. In response, the queen ordered mirrors hung in every hallway, reflecting every movement. "Let the palace watch itself," she declared. Inside the palace, silence was not peace. It was pressure, and cracks had begun to form. In the winter of 1308, a strange figure emerged within the palace, a boy no older than 10, always masked in hammered copper. No one knew his name, only that he had come from the northern province, a place silenced for rebelling against the queen's decree. Some claimed he was the last son of a forgotten Varelian bastard line. He never spoke, but his eyes burned with something ancient. He roamed the mirrored corridors freely, escorted by no guards. The queen allowed it. Soon, whispers began to surround him. A steward found dead with molten metal in his mouth. A scribe gone missing, her blood used to draw symbols on parchment. The boy would sit in court during royal meetings, staring at nobles until they convulsed or fled. Some believed he could curse with a glance. One night, a group of ministers attempted to capture him in secret. By dawn, only their scorched robes remained in the east wing. After that, no one dared approach. The queen declared him a holy specter of the bloodline, immune to law. The truth was more terrifying. The boy's mask bore 5 etchings, one for each prince of Elira, and behind it, he carried the curse of silence not as punishment, but as power. He was not cursed by silence. He controlled it. In 1310, to mark a decade of her reign, Queen Varelia hosted the most extravagant royal banquet in Varelian history. It was held in the Hall of Whispers, a grand glass chamber suspended above the sea cliffs, designed so even the faintest sound echoed like thunder. Over 300 nobles attended, dressed in shimmering black and deep crimson. Not a word was spoken. Silver bells hung from every guest's neck, ringing softly with each movement. It was a cruel reminder. Sound existed, but not for them. The queen entered last, flanked by her echo-bearers and the copper-masked boy. She did not speak, but clapped once. The feast began, raw oysters plated in ice skulls, candied eels, wine black as ink. Musicians stood mute behind their instruments. No music played. Midway through, one of the noble women, Lady Gresha, a known critic of the queen, laughed. Just once. A single melodic laugh. The entire hall froze. The queen rose slowly. She walked to Gresha, took her hand, and kissed it. Then, she clapped twice. Guards dragged Gresha away. Her scream echoed across the cliffs as the doors slammed. That was the last voice anyone heard in the palace again. After that night, all future royal events were held in darkness, in silence, in fear. The boy with the copper mask didn't eat. He only watched, and the bells around his neck never rang. In the spring of 1312, resistance finally stirred, not with swords, but with something far more dangerous, names. In the outer provinces, children were being named after the dead princes, Kalin, Dareth, Silas. It was a quiet defiance, but it spread like wildfire. In a kingdom where voice was forbidden, names became revolution. Queen Varelia responded with fury. She sent her echo-bearers to enforce a new decree. No child could bear the name of any royal bloodline. Those who disobeyed had their children taken, renamed, or worse, silenced forever. But the rebellion only grew bolder. In the mining town of Hollisteep, a former court scribe named Marcin created a secret school for children to learn the old voice. He taught them to speak in the forgotten tongue of Elira's age, an ancient dialect laced with poetry and flame. The children called themselves the Unsaid. One night, a child from the school stood atop the Hollisteep bell tower and shouted his name, Kalin Varelia, across the valley. His voice echoed for miles. Within a week, Hollisteep was burned to the ground. But the message was clear. The voice of the people had not died. It had only hidden, waiting for a name to speak it. The queen trembled. For the first time in years, she felt something alien. Not silence. Not power. Fear. After the ashes of Hollisteep cooled, Queen Varelia's paranoia twisted into obsession. She ordered the construction of the Mirror Hall, an endless labyrinth of polished obsidian glass beneath the palace, designed to trap dissenters and enemies within their own reflections. But the Mirror Hall did more than imprison. It reflected truth. Courtiers who gazed too long saw not their faces but twisted versions of themselves, greedy, broken, terrified. Into this labyrinth, the copper-masked boy vanished one night, followed secretly by the queen herself. No one saw either leave or return. Rumors spread that the boy had found a way to speak without sound, bending silence to break the curse. The queen, desperate to keep her grip, summoned the echo-bearers to hunt him down inside the mirrors. Inside the labyrinth, time fractured. Some courtiers wandered for days, others disappeared for years. The mirrors whispered names, old kings, lost heirs, silent ghosts. On the 10th day, a mirror shattered with a deafening crack. The boy emerged, mask broken, his mouth moving soundlessly. The queen was behind him, eyes wide, her power undone. The silent throne was no longer silent. The copper-masked boy stepped into the great hall, his mask shattered and lips trembling. The court held its breath. Then a single, soft sound escaped him, a whispered name, Varelia. That small voice ignited a firestorm. Nobles gasped, then cried out, some in joy, others in terror. The queen's iron grip shattered in an instant. The silent rule was broken. The boy's voice grew stronger with every step. He spoke of truths long buried, the secret marriages, the 5 heirs, the curse of silence. His words wove through the crowd like a blazing flame, exposing lies, betrayals, and forgotten crimes. The queen's echo-bearers tried to silence him, but no bell could stop a voice freed at last. The nobles rose in revolt, chanting names lost to time. The throne cracked beneath the weight of spoken history. The boy revealed himself as Kaelin Varelia, the true heir, the only one who could undo the curse by reclaiming the throne with voice and truth. As the palace walls shook, Queen Varelia vanished into the shadows. Her reign of silence ended, but her curse forever etched into the bloodline. With the throne cracked and the curse broken, Kaelin Varelia ascended as the first true king in generations to speak freely. His voice carried the weight of history, forgiveness, and hope. The palace, once a prison of silence, became a place of song and speech. The silenced courtiers found their voices again, and the people of Varelia celebrated with festivals and open markets where stories and laughter filled the air. But the scars of silence ran deep. The queen's curse lingered, not as a magic spell, but in the memories of pain and loss. Kaelin decreed that the history of silence would never be forgotten, establishing a hall of names where every victim of the curse was honored in light and sound. The copper mask was melted down and reforged into a crown, a symbol that silence can be broken, but its echoes remain. Varelia's new era was fragile, a balance between voice and silence, truth and secrecy. But for the first time in centuries, the royal family spoke openly, and the kingdom listened. A dawn born from silence.